If you're a regular watcher of Barn Find Hunter, you may remember an episode we did about a year ago. A gentleman who had cars every end of the spectrum. An MGTC over here, a Porsche 930 over there, and a little bit of everything else in the middle. And everything was coated with dust and mouse prints, boxes from decades of being unused. And I said, you know, don't be hard on this guy in the comments because sometimes health gets in the way. It's more important to keep yourself alive after a stroke than it is to wash your cars. Well, sadly, that gentleman died just a few months after we filmed that episode. And his wife, who I really got to be friends with, she said, you know, I've taken care of my husband long enough. I have to take care of myself now. I'm gonna go get a checkup. She was found to have pancreatic cancer and passed away 4 weeks after her husband. Your comments were wonderful and I really appreciate it. So we showed you all the cars in that building. What I didn't tell you about was there was one more car. And in my barn finding life, this is the car to top all cars I've ever found. And I can't think of another car that will beat this car in my mind as being like, oh my God, there can't be another one like this on earth. A gentleman who's a friend of mine has recently purchased that car. Keep it dirty, just keep it just the way you found it. And he said, I'll do that. And here we are today, invited to, again, another garage, quite different than the cluttered barn that you were at last time you saw this man's collection. Quite a fabulous building, but thankfully the car is still rough and ready. So here we are, invited into what I would consider the ultimate garage mahal, the ultimate guy's man cave. Shiny cars, fabulous, and every one I see is a Ford. But they're all clean and shiny and beautiful. And there's one car here that doesn't match that description. What you're seeing in the flesh here is that this is a real Ford GT. There can't be another one like this on earth that has been sitting for, well, the last time this was registered in New York was 1982. We're coming up on 45 years or so of no use. Gentleman bought it in 1973 from, actually I know the guy he bought it from, Herb Wetson. He was McDonald's before McDonald's. He had a series of restaurants called Wetson's Restaurants. But he was also a racer and a car collector. And he owned a few of these. So what I'd like to do is bring over the guy, the next caretaker for this car. Chad.
Hey Tom, thanks for coming.
Thank you. This place is fabulous.
Thank you.
But this is what I'm most excited about. And you beat me to the punch.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
No, I get it. How did you find out about this car?
Jay Cushman, as you know, had it in his shop up in Portland, Maine. And I got to know Jay, I don't know, probably 2018, something like that, buying Cobra parts and Shelby parts. And he came down here one time to deliver some parts and said, oh, you like GT40s? And I said, yeah, I sure do. And he goes, I got the best one in the world in my shop. And I thought, yeah, whatever, yeah, sure. And the more we talked, I was like, and then he sent me pictures and I was like, wow, I would love to own that car one day. And he said, well, Tom Powers wants me to get the car running, but it's not that simple. So there's so much more to do to it. He won't want to spend that kind of money. And I talked with Tom a couple times over the years, and every time he'd say, okay, I'll sell it to you. At the last minute, it was like, nah, not gonna do it. You know, I'm gonna die with it.
So I got to be friends with the owner of this car, Tom. He bought it as a young guy. He was probably in his late 20s, early 30s or so. He used it the way, you wanted a car like this to be used. It's never been raced. He told me I used to drive with my girlfriend. He lived on Long Island, to Watkins Glen, to Bridgehampton, to Sebring.
Wow.
He drove this car.
I did not know that.
And they camped out in a pup tent next to it. We used to go camping in that thing. I said, you slept in it? No, he said, we'll bring a pup tent. I don't think there's a lot of room to store a lot of luggage in this car.
Yeah.
But he used it the way, you would hope somebody like that would use it. And, if you remember the other cars I told you about, the MGTC, the 930 Porsche, he used all of them. He was the ultimate enthusiast.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I don't know if he ever told you, his father was furious at him when he bought that car. Yeah, because he spent so much money on it. But one day, many years later, he found out what they were worth. He was like, well, son, that was a good buy.
22 grand.
Yeah.
You probably could have bought a house for that much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, I could see his father being angry. So The serial number of this car, do you know the number of it?
1056.
This is a 289 car. So it's interesting because 1046 is the car that won Le Mans in 1966. So if you saw the movie Ford versus Ferrari, car that ultimately won the race, the black number 2 car, was number 1046, which is a 427 car. This car was built 10 serial numbers later, and it's a 289 car. But this was never raced, right?
No.
This is just a street car. I looked up in the records. This car came from the factory painted light green.
We can see some paint in there.
Oh, you can, really. And then it was painted pearl yellow, and then it was ultimately painted silver.
Yep.
So can you walk us around and show us what you're the proud new owner of here?
You know, a couple things were done to the car, like you mentioned, the paint job. And then I think the first owner took the interior out. You know, it was what, vinyl, and had a leather interior made. So, and that's still in it, as you see. But you know, the car's never been taken apart. Tom had it in New York at some shop and had the engine and transmission rebuilt. And they put it in, and they were going to put electronic ignition on it, and then they stopped. And then it just sat in this guy's shop in New York, and I'm not sure what year, but finally, I think the father passed away and the son took over the shop, and he was moving. And
it was Dell's Auto Body,
Okay.
It was Bill Wonder, and it was Joe Stamola. Those 3 different shops around Nassau County and Long Island. Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Why do they call it a GT40, you may ask? It's a GT car, but this is 40 inches off the ground. And somebody came up with the idea, let's call it a GT40. So you can see how low it is. I mean, here I am, and it's below my waist. Have you sat in this yet?
yeah,
Wow.
all the strapping's gone, but it's, yeah.
Strapping, what strapping is that?
Oh, well,
Oh,
this
look
right
at
here.
that. Okay, so there's almost a trampoline of cloth straps to hold the seat up. I get it. So you're
I've
sinking
always
way
I've
down.
always been told that all that strapping is from parachutes from World War II.
Wow. So can you lift the back up on this
We
thing?
can. We're going to have to get someone to hold it because I don't have the tether on.
Okay.
Go ahead and grab that. Yep.
So here we have a Hypo 289, which I think we read 360 horsepower, I think, in this
think that's
preparation. 4 Weber 2-barrel carburetors, 289 cubic inch. This is not quite the bundle of snakes that the big block cars had, but a beautiful set of headers, a ZF gearbox, and we're looking at a Ford. I mean, isn't this great? There are pieces on this car that are on Ford passenger cars as well. As I remember, one thing was the windshield washer bag. Is it still in here? It's like every Falcon had the same windshield washer bag.
I know we'll have to take the front off. I don't think so.
So these are the gas tanks. Well, I don't know if it's on both sides.
Yeah.
Certainly over here is a saddle tank that was in the rocker panel.
Yep, they're on both sides.
The car is partly fiberglass and partly aluminum. You can see this is all fiberglass in here. And you can see the remnants of these little Mises right here,
Oh yeah,
which I saw lots of his other cars had remnants of mice as well.
I'm sure.
How many GTs were built? Do you know?
30 street cars. I know that, and I can't remember how many race cars. But it's got to
I
be.
think about 100 total.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say about 70 race cars. Yep. And a lot of street cars, a lot of the 30 street cars, were turned into race cars.
Yeah.
If not during the day, a lot of them were turned into vintage race cars.
Right.
So it's really rare to find one that was never turned into a race car.
How long have you been dreaming of owning a car like this?
Since I was 10. I mean, yeah, my dad owned a drugstore growing up, and luckily he sold Matchbox cars, and I think I had every Matchbox car in the world. And I've just always loved cars, and
Yeah.
you know, started out with a 6-cylinder Mustang, and grew up into this.
Yeah, no kidding. You're a Ford guy for sure. Wow. So what are your short-term and long-term plans for this?
Short term is to go through the car and see what's missing. I mean, it's not much at all. Really, mainly probably hardware and a starter. It's still got all the hard to find parts. I mean, how many street cars were not turned into race cars? Not many. How many street cars still have their original motor and transmission? Not many. And original body. I mean, every body panel still has the body tag on it. I mean, the tub is all original. I mean, it's just, I have another one that was a street car, became a vintage race car, and now we're going back. And it's painful to find all those parts. Painful.
Yeah, because I mean, if they built 100 cars, there might be 100 parts, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow. Now what's up in front here?
Heater. Obviously the radiator. It should be loose.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
It actually has a Mark II radiator in it right now because these cars were notorious for running hot.
So I'm not sure this fan would have done much good. You know,
No.
No shrouding or anything.
No.
All right, so the cooling, here's the cooling lines. The radiator's up front, engines in the back. So these cooling lines went right through the tunnel, the center tunnel right there. This must be a heater.
It is. That's the heater.
And you got still a little tag on there. Isn't that cool?
Yep.
Would you drive it like this?
I've thought about, like you were talking about, just mechanically doing the car and leaving it like it is. You'd have to do something to the interior.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably leave it like it is, but you're going to have to re-web the seats, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. One thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to get in a rush to do anything.
I think too many restorations are destroyed.
Yeah.
When people rush into something.
Funny story on the wheels. I don't know if Tom told you. Some guy, and I don't know his name right now, owned 1043, I think, in this car. I think
Yes.
1043.
Yeah, it was Herb Wetson. And for
Okay.
some reason, the wheels on this car went up with that car,
Right.
vice versa. Yeah.
But I think he got them, I think Tom got them back because I've got some paperwork. I should go get it and show it to you. He placed an ad, I think in Road and Track, back, I don't know what year it was, in late 70s, saying I want to find my wheels. And then there's paperwork where he sent wheels to have them redone. And I don't know if he would have sent the wrong ones.
So these are Barani wire wheels. They're made in Italy. Stainless steel spokes and chrome rim, or aluminum rims, I'm sorry. Fabulous wheel, boy. So when I saw this car years ago, sitting in the building, had flat tires, I said, is this perfect? Is this perfect? Having a dusty GT40 with flat tires. Perfect. Man. Hey guys, Hagerty Marketplace has auctions you can trust from a name you know. It's free to sell with dedicated support before, during, and after your auction. Hagerty Marketplace Auctions makes it easy to get the most out of your car. Click the link in the description below to find out more. My pal Jim Maxwell, who whenever we come across a Cobra or GT40, I always bring Jim with me because he's my expert. So Chad, when he brought home this GT40, he was able to bring home extra parts, these parts bins. So Chad, can you tell us what you've got here?
And this one right here is the original pedal assembly that goes in the car.
Ooh, look at that.
But now, these things are made out of, I believe, magnesium.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
And they don't like concrete. So this thing sat on the concrete, and that's why it's corroded. But I have a new old stock one.
Oh, gee.
And then these are all the original brake calipers, which should be date coded and everything.
Look at the size of that, man.
These hoses, these are impossible
Oh,
to find.
yeah.
Clutch and brake
Now
master
see the
cylinders.
master cylinders?
Yep.
One of my areas of fixation.
I wonder what brand these are.
Dated.
What was it? ATE? Is it a German brand of Girling or something like that?
Girling was British, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is dated February 16th, 1965.
There you go.
Oh, there's the other master. That one down there. That'll have the dates. Oh, made a day later. Wow. February 16th, 1965.
Is that Girling?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's great.
All right, what else we got?
All right, I think we've got some mufflers.
Oh, look
This
at
is just
that.
some interior panels,
Yeah.
which is cool. I'll show you something neat
With
here.
plywood.
Look here.
Oh, look.
That says 56 on it.
That is just like the Cobras.
Yep.
They etched the numbers in the panels.
Wow.
Yep. So that's the surround for the mufflers.
So these came out the back deck?
Yeah, that's not original.
No.
Those are original. Right
Oh, no
there.
kidding.
Yeah.
So was this a straight out exhaust, no mufflers? Because
Nope, those are the mufflers.
Oh, okay,
That's
so
it.
this went on
Sorry,
here?
yeah. That
Okay,
went
okay.
on here.
Got
Yep,
it, got it,
yep.
okay.
And then these are just these are new parts, but that's the
Great.
Feel
Oh,
how
very
light that
nice.
is.
Oh,
Feel how
man.
light that is.
Look at that.
Man, that's NOS. How did you ever find that?
Jay had one.
Man. And okay, so these are,
Those are just that's a new wiring harness made for them.
Who made that for you? You know?
Jay had them made in England many years ago.
Okay.
so you also have some paperwork that you got with the car?
Yes.
To me, I could spend like days taking apart paperwork, looking at dates and names. I found those in a file cabinet in
Oh,
the
that's
basement.
that. Yes.
I mean, I'm just going through his old business records and stuff, and and sitting there in the bottom of a file cabinet in the basement, which is like moist and yuck.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God. I went upstairs. I said, Sally,
That's amazing.
look what I found. She
Thank
gave me a
you.
huge hug.
Did you see these?
Yeah, this is in front of his house.
That's when he bought it, I think, wasn't it?
Yep.
And it was silver when he bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got the dates, actually, the dates from that you showed me this morning when it was painted.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I've got them right here. You can have
Okay.
this. I just wrote some cheat sheets. Light green 966, pearl yellow in 67, resprayed in 71 silver.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. I think this is the bill of sale.
Oh, look at that, 22 grand. In as-is condition, race car, no guarantee stated or implied. See, look at this,
Yes.
Sable Ford. I worked at Sable Ford
Oh,
in
okay.
the early 80s as a car salesman. Original cost $18,500, value $100,000. Look at this, two-door sedan. You can call it that.
Yep.
Wow, very cool.
And then there's a lot in here. Have you been through this before?
I think I have, yeah.
Yeah. There's just a lot in here where he's corresponding with who owned parts. Ford sold them all to JW.
John Wire, yeah.
Yeah.
John Wire Engineering.
But a lot of this is correspondence back and forth. Oh, see, here's
Oh, for the Verani wheels.
Road and Track. Oh yeah, look at that.
at least I kind of know what the mileage is
There you
from
go.
this right here.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
What year would this have been?
80.
So he only had it insured. I mean, he only had it registered 2 more years after this. So I consider this kind of thing almost like mining. Like this is the mine, and you're going through there little by little, picking out little pieces of gold.
I mean, can you imagine? Tom sits down, he writes a letter and goes, "This is what I need," and mails it to England, and waits for them to mail it back. I mean, it must have taken a year to get it. Yep.
I see that one.
I was into old Fords, during that era where you would send a check, and the guy would send you the piece, and there was never a doubt that it would. Both parties would do their deal.
Yep.
So if you have an old car, or have the opportunity to buy an old car, and there is paperwork you can get, even silly things like this. This is from F. Paul Foreign Auto Parts, where I used to buy my parts from. I don't even know what it is. It's $1, whatever it was, acrylic lacquer. Try to get acrylic lacquer. Silver Fox. That's probably what it was. It was probably a Ford Cortina color called Silver Fox, and they probably got a sample of it for $1. This stuff most of the time winds up in a dumpster somewhere, and nobody ever finds it. I would say, if you can get it, or if you're buying a classic car, what else do you have? Can you share with me? Can you look in Dad's top dresser drawer and see if there's anything else in there? And if you have a car, don't throw away things like this, because future owners will want to mine your paper collection as well. So if you take this car to a show, I know you've been invited to some shows, will you leave it just like this?
Probably. I don't know yet. Yeah.
I
I'm
can
not in a rush to clean it up.
I can tell you that it'll get more attention like this
Yeah.
than if it's shiny.
Yep. Yep.
So the first time I saw this car was, I think, 2018, 2019. I'm standing at my favorite bakery coffee shop wearing a hat, not this one, and it said Lime Rock on it. And so we're waiting in line, and the guy behind me says, I raced the Lime Rock. I said, you raced the Lime Rock? Yeah. What'd you race? Oh, I had a Formula car. So we sat down over there after we got our coffee and our scone, blueberry scone in Maine, perfect. And we're talking about cars and racing and stuff. And just as we're finishing up, he said, there's an old guy out on River Road that's got a Ford GT. Boom! What? So that day, I drove over there, saw a long driveway, you couldn't see a house at the end of it. So I'm gonna come back with an old car. And the next day I went back, got my Cunningham, and drove it up the driveway, parked it near the door of the house, knocked on the door, and a woman came to the door and she said, what kind of car is that? I said, well, it's called a Cunningham. It was built by a guy named Briggs Cunningham. She said, well, I never heard of Briggs Cunningham, but I bet my husband knows who he was. But he can't come to the door right now. He's in a wheelchair. He's not able to walk. But why don't you come in and talk to my husband? And that's how I found out that this was the Ford GT that was owned by a gentleman who I became friends with. And ultimately he said, I've got lots of cars in the barn over there. If you want to go in there, go ahead. And you've seen the episode that showed the diverse, collection of cars that he had from an MGTC that his father bought brand new, Lotus Elan, Lotus Indy car, GMC Cyclone pickup, 930 Porsche Turbo, and an old Indian motorcycle. This is the one that I didn't tell you about. And I was just hoping, praying that one day would be able to feature this car in Barn Find Hunter. So this is a many-year dream come true. And you know, it takes patience. You can't just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You can't go in, knock on the door and think you're gonna buy this car in 18 hours later or something. You know, sometimes it takes, you know, a decade to mature a relationship that people trust you. It finally worked. Happy hunting.